Yes, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. As you can see, we have a very, very special guest, and I will let Reese introduce him because I always introduce the guests, but Reese has a much closer relationship with this guest, so go ahead.
Um, do I say the second ever? That doesn't sound as good. Second ever natural teen overall winner. The best natural teen ever to win an overall.
Oh,
The
throwing
debate.
shots there. I don't know
There's a
how I feel
debate.
about
Go for
Imagine I
controversial.
just bring Josh in now. I've just sent Josh the link. You
that.
see?
Yeah, yeah. Have a little 1v1.
They go pose for pose. No, so this is Jacob Tipper. Jacob won the overall yesterday. First ever show, overall as a teen. Only the second ever teen to have done it. Me and Jacob have been working pretty much like I say relentlessly. It's been like every day we've been chatting. Like it's been a very, very cool project. But he started with me start of the year, back into last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, like Christmas pretty much.
Yeah. And then it was a case where pretty much since then we started prep 28th of January.
Yeah, yeah, right at the end.
Yeah, it was right at the end. It was a bit of an unorthodox start because you wanted to compete as a team. I remember in your application you said you were like to do like a rookie season, see how I do. And then I saw you at the shed, and I also knew like time frame wise, I was like, well, we could go into an off season for 4 months, 5 months, but you had high food, you're in a good spot training wise. Like the first couple of weeks, we got you training in a really good groove, and it was like, well, you could start now and do earlier shows. And I remember your response was like, yeah, man, let's go for it.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, there wasn't really any thought. So introduce yourself, mate. Like, let's say if somebody say who are you, what are you about, what would you say?
Well, I'm Jacob. I've been in the gym for probably getting on for about 6 years now. Obviously yesterday I competed for the first time. Um, First of three shows that we've got planned out. Obviously I won my class and then somehow managed to snag the overall, which is pretty cool. And we've got PCA Naturals in 2 weeks, and then well, we're gonna have a chat about what's next after that, but
Yeah,
probably Worlds, which
I
is
think
pretty
we
cool.
know. I think we know what's next.
yeah,
Yeah,
it should be Worlds. Like it definitely should be. I didn't even realize that Worlds was in 3 weeks or whatever.
I said dinner. I said to Reese, I was like, mate, I'm coming. Like, you came to Vegas, I'm coming to Amsterdam. And then I sent him a message on the drive home last night. I was like, it's the same date, it's the same weekend as the WNBF. I was like, I can't go.
it's
Reese was
quite
like,
unfortunate, really.
they,
Yeah,
I think it's,
essentially.
well,
But
I don't know.
it's been a
Well,
good time.
is it unfortunate or is it planned? Like, I don't know. But I also think like the UKDFBA don't choose when that is. You know what I mean? It's the PNBA
Yeah,
that choose when that is. So I think it probably is just a bit of a like unfortunate. Or the WNBF chose to put theirs that weekend, knowing that, so people had to make a decision. Who knows? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you should do Worlds, mate.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it'd
100%.
be a cool experience. Like it'd be just something different, ending a season in a different like country. Obviously, Amsterdam's a cool place. It's not too far, but yeah, when it comes to yourself, mate, 'cause we've got a few questions and how the prep's been and all that sort of stuff. But how was your overall impression of the day? Like, how were you leading into it?
It was obviously a surreal experience. Like, to be fair, like I did not like it couldn't have gone any better.
But yeah, it couldn't have.
Like,
You won the whole show.
yeah. Um, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was like such a cool experience, just like meeting people. Like I met Adam Powell, I met AJ Morris, I met a bunch of Finn's clients. I met just a load of people that I like seen on Instagram, and then like wow, actually like there, it was really cool. Everyone
Mm.
was very friendly. I thought the show was quite well run. Like it was a bit like they would be like, oh yeah, you're on in 20 minutes, and then it'll be like 40 minutes later.
I
To
was
Especially
be
like
fair,
uh,
like
most of
that,
the show.
huh?
I was saying to you the whole time, Jacob. Every time they said it, I was like, "Don't worry, mate. You're fine.
Yeah,
Just
I
chill
was just
out."
about to say like I was actually going to credit the UKDFBA because they're actually one of the best federations for it. Like it was it was busy, but like before the show, like I'd already said to my clients, I think you'll be on at this time. And it was pretty much bang on, or like within like maybe 15, 20 minutes. Like it was slightly behind, but it wasn't bad. And like, yeah, it's always like that. Like you can't say for sure exactly how long it's gonna be because there might be a class that's really close and it just takes longer.
Yeah,
So they can't say for sure.
Yeah. I know you were saying, Jacob, your like it was more so the pump up area as well, because the venue, especially the first time, it does get a little bit congested in there.
Yeah.
yeah, it was very chaotic. Like so many bags all over the floor and everything.
That is one
Yeah.
thing as
Just try
well.
not to trip.
I don't know why they say, don't they, like you're allowed one person backstage with you.
Hmm.
That's never manned. Like everybody goes
No.
backstage. It's rammed there. Like, yeah, that needs to be better, I think, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe
Well,
some like camping chairs or like some seats. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah, it'd be nice if there's some chairs because like everyone was leant against the wall, and the amount of times that I was like saying to Jacob, right, go sit over there, and then I tried to scout out somewhere where we can like get him just leant against a wall or something. But yeah, when it comes to the show, mate, like let's say your thoughts heading in, where was your head a few days out? Like how was peak week, all that sort of stuff? What was your expectations going in? Honestly, like what were you thinking when it comes to like what did you reckon you take overall?
No, I was like honestly like, I wasn't even sure if I'd like take my class. Like, I thought it was probably there, especially
Yeah.
like once I got like saw everyone and got up on the stage, but didn't expect to necessarily win the overall, like I said. But regarding like peak week was really fun. I enjoyed it. Like I still
Did
had like a
Phoebe
sense of routine.
did Phoebe enjoy peak week?
The fat load questionable.
Then you need to know about this.
I
All right,
think
go on.
I think I was okay after I had some oats in the evening, but
No, Jacob, come on, give us a rundown. What happened during the fat load?
so well, I may have been a bit more agitable than potentially I realized, especially like looking back on it. But Phoebe here. Hi guys. We were butting heads a little bit. Just very irritable, very back and forth at each other, but we're all good. We're all good.
You're good now.
So go through the whole peak, either like obviously both of you, Reese, you can interject, like, but or you can keep things secret if there's
No, 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 no,
secrets.
no. There wasn't anything. Jacob, I'll let you take the
This is
reins, and I'll
what's this
come
is
in for a
why I
bit.
want you to say it because like
Well, no,
Jacob looked.
we can give a bit of a rundown of the whole prep because genuinely the prep, like flat out, I said to you, Jacob, after you won the whole thing yesterday when we went for a walk, it has been absolutely perfect. Like there's not been a single thing that I could think. And you know how you said on the last bit, Finn, you were like, you almost rack your brain. And like, you know, sometimes it just like lands perfectly and you're like
Yeah.
sick, like everything comes to plan. Like we started out in a good spot. We were pretty aggressive out the gate. We pulled off like 6, 7, 8 kilos pretty aggressively.
Yeah,
High
that was
days
nice.
in from like 10 weeks out, 12 weeks out. And his high days were like originally like 700 carb. And he was gaining like probably a kilo and a half from them every time. And then it was a case where he dropped 2.5 kilos the whole week. So it was like kilo rate of loss literally the entirety of the time that we were prepping and stuff like that, which was sound. We then literally started tapering off cardio from like 6 weeks out. So cardio was like removed on training days. Then it was or removed on leg days. Then it was training days. And then you were only doing cardio the last 4 weeks on rest days for like what was it like
Yeah,
45 minutes if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Was
40
it four?
minutes on Stairmaster.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And then like food never got that low. Like we only went below 400 carb for a very very brief period of time, probably the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Like you were eating a good amount of food, and some people were probably listening to that and thinking, Jesus Christ, like it doesn't sound that hard. But Jacob trains really
I was
really
literally
really
just going
hard.
to say
Like
most people will listen to that and go, well, why ain't my prep like that? Because you don't train as
yeah
hard as Jacob, and you're not meticulous as Jacob, and you're not as big as Jacob.
yeah exactly. No, it's the case, and like as well,
That's the
like
thing though. Like even my prep wasn't like I had to dig a lot harder than that because
yeah.
my training, like especially like lower body wise, like the stuff that Jacob does, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like at where I'm at now, and I'm happy to admit that, and that's why I don't have quads like Jacob. Like you know,
Mm.
it's like it makes a massive difference, like the level that you train, and obviously you've said like he's just like handled it very well.
Yeah, no, I think like it's been funny. I remember I said this to you, Jacob. I said this to you, Finn. At 2 weeks out, I got a message from you when I was training, and it was like, "Hey mate, progress the hack squat by 4 reps," and I like literally laughed out
yeah,
loud.
yeah.
It's like
That was crazy
who,
session.
who at 2 weeks out should be? If I get a message from a client at midday when they're training at 2 weeks out, I'm expecting it to be like shit
Yeah.
session or wasn't the best day. It's like, hey mate, just progress the hack squat by 4 reps. I was like, what the fuck? Like, just really, really cool. So it was just literally a really, really nice, like, kind of ride into peak week. And then we ran a 2 day fat load. We kept carbs in for the final meal, a nice bowl of oats that you look forward to, which was good.
Yeah, I think that just picked me up every time. But it also
No,
like
no,
sent me
no.
to sleep at the same time.
Yeah, no. And it was like as well, like we did the pizza protocol. So I said to Jacob after a deload, he went for a pizza before his prep. That was like his final meal. So I was like, oh, just go back there, just have something nice. So it was like very much a case where, especially as a young athlete, I think something that's quite underrated. And Finn, you probably noticed this with Josh last year. You can do things perfectly, but there's a time where you actually have to look at the individual as a person, not as a robot. And Jacob is very robotic. So was Josh probably last year. But having a time to go, yeah, just go for an Italian. Not it doesn't have to be a burger and fries. It can just be go and get a pizza with your girlfriend that you enjoyed before you started prep, something like that. So it was a
Yeah.
nice
Thing
man.
is, as well, though, you have to with that, you have to know and trust the client. Like, I know when I ever said that to Josh, I know for a fact that he was nailing it. Like, I'd say to Josh, like, right, I want you to go to Nando's. You've got 1,500 calories to play with. Like, these are the kind of macros I want you hitting. And he would make sure he was like stupidly meticulous with it. He'd send me a note like, this is what I'm going to have. Is that okay? Yes. But other clients, you say, right, I want you to do this. And they go, oh, off plan meal. And they go crazy and they gain 4 kilos and they go like, oh, honestly, I did what you said. It was like, I'm not stupid. You didn't do what I said. Like you gained 4 kilos, and now we've got to work really hard. Like, so yeah, like it shows, mate. Like it shows in your physique, like how you've been. So fair play because it's not easy. Like prep is not easy. So you've done very very well, and
No.
like it's. I'm glad that it was well rewarded in terms of the overall as well because you did stand out in the overall, but it wouldn't have been a massive surprise if you didn't get it in the sense that like he's a team,
Yeah.
he could be bigger like through some areas, but you did deserve to win the overall. It was like, yeah, like it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was lights out. It wasn't like, yeah, it's 100% Jacob. But I think if you hadn't have won it, we'd have been like, he should have won that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, carrying on from like the peak week because we didn't actually get to the end. So yeah, ran 2 days of fat loading. Then I saw you on Wednesday, didn't we? At the
Yeah.
shed, which is mental to think that was only like what 5 days ago. That feels like it was about a month ago. Like it feels
Yeah.
really weird. So yeah, I saw Jacob on Wednesday. So that was like a little in-person checkup, and I think that was that day one of the carb load. Like we started
Yeah.
loading Tuesday, didn't we? Like after like
Yeah,
post work.
we started fat loading in the morning. Yeah, we're still fat loading in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, was
It's
that
okay.
when? Yeah, we spent Wednesday, it was like half and half. So it was like it was pretty much like fat loading. Then it was a case of like we trickled in some carbs afterwards, just like 2 pump sessions, Tuesday, Wednesday, just to get a bit of blood moving. And then I saw you Wednesday and I pulled you to the side and was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're posing as shit. Like
Yeah, mate.
you're having
I
an
think I was a bit
awful.
ruined that day.
Yeah.
That's
You could
normal though.
see
You
like,
just finished a fat
yeah,
load, like you're going to be stupidly flat. Like you're going to
yeah,
look shit.
yeah.
That's one thing that is hard with the peak week. Like with Sonny, for example, he had the fat load and dropped like 2 pounds. And obviously, I didn't really want him losing any weight. I kind of wanted him like holding. Lost two
Mm,
pounds and he looked like flat. And I was like, well, this is okay. It's like expected. But he was
mm,
actually quite happy about it. 'Cause he was like, oh, new low, like great. And I was
yeah.
like, yeah, but I don't really want you losing weight. But I was like, it's okay. And then filled him up and like spilled him a little bit. And his like face was a bit watery and he was a little bit blurry. And I was like, this is what we're aiming for. Like, I wanted you to be a little bit spilled. This was like Friday, so we had loads of time. But even then, he was like, mate, what's going on? Like, and I was like, it's you almost have to like really explain it so that the client isn't as stressed. But even so, like when we had what's his Jamie Harrison on, he was saying one day he was like, I was so stressed because I was spilled, even though he was meant to be spilled. Like,
Yeah.
even when you're pretty experienced with it, you're still going to be
Yeah.
stressed.
We didn't actually try to spill at all.
No.
Like, I didn't think Jacob needed to. And also, you get to a point where you can't really spill. Like, it would have had to have been a stupid amount of food, which I don't think would have like helped his physique. So
No, I think my
yeah,
midsection would have looked pretty bad.
yeah, it just wouldn't look good. And also, like, you're just genetically, your delts don't ever go that flat. Like, your delts are always pretty round. Your arms go a little bit flat, and maybe through like your chest and your lats, especially through your back. But I don't think from the front, like, I honestly think, mate, you could probably not train legs for like a year, eat no carbs for like the whole of that. And I think your quads would still be like full as fuck. I don't know even why.
I
I
feel
couldn't
weird
imagine.
like not training them for a week, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I think you train legs tomorrow, aren't you? So
Yeah,
that'll be good.
that'd
So
be cool.
yeah, but regardless, it was a case where we literally just trickled a bit more food. It was like 500 carb, 600 carb, 600 carb. Body weight crept up by like, was it like 0.6, 0.7 of a kilo?
Yeah, yeah, roughly.
And we just got you not moving. Like, what was get your phone up, mate, or get the sheets up. What were your steps Wednesday? Like, tell us your steps in the whole peak. What was it like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
So Monday, well, just under 12K Monday, 7K Tuesday. Then obviously I worked Wednesday and then we're back up to like 11K. That's probably why my hamstrings looked shit. And then 3K, 4K, 3K, and 4K.
Sick. Yeah,
Nice.
Solid.
yeah. So it
Did
was
you
just
did you
literally.
enjoy doing that? Did you feel like you needed that?
It was nice to have them like come down because they were like 20K last week. But at the same time, like, I felt quite out of routine, like not waking up and doing steps or anything really. So I don't know.
It's nice to keep a little bit in just for like routine and digestion in it. But I also
Yeah,
like remember those days where I didn't have to go on a walk and I was like, oh, I can actually just have a meal and then I don't have to go straight on a walk after. Because like, there's a point where you
yeah,
just eat, walk, eat, train, eat, walk, like or eat cardio. It's like just constant. So it is nice.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So then, like literally into the show, like Saturday, we ran like again, almost like a half. Didn't really need to dry out, but I wanted to see like how freaky you could look. So we like got in carbs first three meals, I think, and then it was like the last two. I saw you. I went to your hotel on Saturday night, and I saw him after like was it like 9, 10 liters of water already consumed at that point?
yeah,
Yeah, and it was like
yeah. Good like
four
10,
meals in.
12.
Yeah, he was like 3, 4 meals in, and I was like, okay, you're like probably the leanest and like driest I've seen you, and you're gonna wake up tomorrow. And I was like, you'll be really good. And then I thought for the show, like when it came to the first class, I thought for the teens you were really good, but I thought for the overall you were like so much better. Like I thought I don't know if any of you
Not
would
much
agree.
better.
I had a few
Yeah.
people come up to say the same.
That was I feel like that was the same with Josh last year. Like
Yeah.
I think just having time in the day to just chill even more, like stay off your
Mm.
feet even more, get a little bit more fluid in and a little bit more carbs, like you just look better. Like again, like Josh, this in especially at the WMBF, was like fucking hell. Like he just came to life in the overall. I was like, you're a lot better than I even thought you were going to be. Like he looked great in the teens, but yeah, like you definitely were better. I think as well, it's like you get rid of those nerves. Like it's your first ever time on stage, the first time, and then later on in the day, you kind of like you also see photos, see poses that you think, oh, that could be a bit better. Like you learn so much from that first time, and then when you're in the overall, like you can make those little tweaks, and you can
It was
consume
the
Yeah,
full tub of jam.
yeah the
yeah.
jam prep.
That was great. Honestly, I don't know if I actually like jam more now. I think it kind of ruined it for me, but
Um,
yeah,
literally, I said to him about like keeping carbs low, and he was like, "Jam? How much jam?" And he was like, "You can have jam, mate." And he was like, "How much?" And I was like, "Do 40 grams." He was like, "That was lovely." And I was like, "Okay, can I have a bit more?" And I was like, "Maybe do this." And then for the overall, I was like, I said, "Just have some more jam." He was like, "More jam? Okay." It was almost like the second I mentioned jam, his eyes just widened, and he was like, "Sure, I'll have more
so
jam."
sweet, so young.
It does make
So
a
yeah, it was
difference,
literally
though, doesn't it? Like liking what you're carbing up on makes a huge difference. I said that to Sonny. I said, "What have you got?" Because I said like bring different stuff. I said, "What sweets have you got?" And he was like, oh, I've
Mm,
got Skittles now. And he's posted Skittles on his story in the off season, like, can't wait for these again. And I was like, you love Skittles, don't you? And he was like, yeah. I was like, cool, we'll have some Skittles. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, mate. Because like that excitement, like you digest it better. You get like that adrenaline rush, your heart rate increase. You get like a pump from just getting excited about a certain food.
yeah. Definitely. And yeah, and then like the overall, mate, what was I saying to you like in between? Because obviously I said about you posing, a few
yeah, we made
tweaks that
some
you
tweaks.
implemented, but also I said like mentality because I feel like after the team class, like the overall, you were a bit like, oh, let's just see. And I was like, no, come on, man, like this could be yours.
Yeah, you told me basically like think that you're gonna win, and then I did that, and then I won. So you kind of brought it to fruition, but
Yeah.
it worked.
And to be fair,
It's
mate, like I think, but you
sorry,
carry on.
it's crazy. This is the same story as Josh at the WMBF last year. It's the exact same. Like everything that you're saying, even down to the jam. Like it's pretty much the exact same thing. Like it is mental. It's really cool.
No, it's nice, but like at the same time, heading into the show, like when I saw you, when we filmed with Sam a few weeks before.
Yeah,
That like really confirmed to me, and I was like, yeah, the overall could be yours. Like, I was pretty much set in my head. Like, I've obviously I won an overall myself. I had Finley win an overall last year, and I've never been as confident. Like in my head, it was almost like yesterday was like you've won the overall. Like going into the show, I was like you're winning the overall. Like that was the minimum. And I said to you a few days before when I saw you at the shed for the last time, and I was like, if your posing is on, you'll be really, really hard to beat in the overall. It's just if you can't switch your hamstrings and glutes on. But
yeah,
and I think like again, it was quite nice. We were saying this in the part one, mate. So give the part one a listen to tomorrow. Because
yeah.
that'll be out.
Will do.
Yeah. So and we were saying like a lot of people, same with Josh last year, because you were a team, I had like when I'd walk off to the toilet and randomly I'd disappear for 5 or 10 minutes because someone would grab me and just try and have a chat or whatever. The amount of people that would say, your guy's really good, but this guy's just won this class and he looks a bit more complete or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, let's see, like let's see how he looks. And then by the looks, like by the times that you got on into the overall, I was like, oh, it's easy. Like I thought by the first comparisons, I thought like it was yours, and then by the end, I was like, yeah, Jacob's got this. Is Jacob still here?
It doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look like it. I think he might have looked down and thought, "Oh, my battery's gone low." And he was hyping up before this. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorted with technology and stuff." Phone would have died.
It is funny though like how close the like story of yesterday is to Josh at the WMBF. Like literally, even down to like you say the jam. Like I remember before Josh went on, it was like he had like the anabolic pancakes that we called them. And they were
Mm,
basically like those little Warburton's Scotch pancakes. He had
yeah,
those with like jam and Nutella, and it was like, mate, yeah, just have a good amount of jam. Like, and then he like looked ridiculous as well. I thought as well, like Jacob's tan was really nice. Shout out to
yeah,
Nicola. Nicola kept saying about coming on the podcast as well, so we'll have to get her on.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Join
his
back.
tan was really good.
He said he's going to join back, so I'm not sure if he's in the waiting room, or whatever.
Yeah, he's glazed like obviously as well. Like I feel like that's one thing that we are really like on it with is especially from previous experience with yourself at the PCA.
I
Like,
mate, I got laughed at by Christian and hey up, he's back. Can you hear me, Jacob? Everything good?
Yeah, I am back. Sorry, I just completely cut off.
what you got
Don't
laughed at because
Yeah,
you were asking
You
about
know when
more
you were,
glaze.
when you were going on for the overall, did you see Christian, Tim, and that laugh about your glaze to me? They were like making sure that glaze is spot on, aren't you, Reese? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
but it was really good.
yeah. And the thing
Yeah,
is like their clients went on the overall, and they didn't have as Jacob had the best hand
yeah,
because I
mate.
was
That was
literally,
again the same with Josh last year. Like, you got to make sure those little things add up. Like, even like with my three guys yesterday, like they obviously they didn't get a place in it, didn't get what we wanted, but like I was buzzing with how all their tans looked and how all their glaze was. Like, I had my olive oil spray that they use, and like Kenny would do a bit, and then I'd be like, right, come over here, and then I'd just do way more because it's like
yeah.
you can't. You can the only way you can go wrong with too much glaze is if you're dabbing it on. You know when it's
Or
like
if you're fat, or if you're
yeah,
fat.
or if you're fat and you can't and you haven't practiced posing, you just look sweaty. But
Yeah,
like when people like dabbing it on and you put way too much on, then you can just look quite oily. But with that olive oil spray, it just gives you like a shine. Like I feel like you can't really put too much on, or unless
yeah.
you put it on like really close. But yeah, your tan and your glaze was spot on, mate.
And get up his Instagram because we've got a few questions, haven't we? So we can have a look and have a bit of a chat. But
This is still
uh,
the overall reel.
okay, Jacob, is there anything
Talk
that
us.
you've
I was gonna
gone
say,
with? Oh, then you carry on.
I was just gonna say, talk us through like what were you thinking at this moment when you were waiting? Did you think you had it?
I was thinking, like I knew I was probably going to be top two because of where I was stood on stage.
Hmm.
But I didn't expect them to call me out just because I wasn't center. So when they
You
said
were
teenage, I was
were
like, yeah.
center. You were center. Like I don't think you realized that like upstage there was you and the guy they called out first, and then there was like an even amount of people. So it was you two in the middle.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't realize that at all. It was
No.
kind of it was a lot like different compared to the team just because there's so many more people up there. And
Hmm.
to be honest, I was just kind of enjoying it, to be fair. I actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, I didn't realize that.
No, definitely. How were the people that you were up against like backstage? Were they different to the teens? Were they a bit more like I don't know? Like, obviously, teens are
Yeah.
a bit more potentially. Were they a bit different?
Yeah, I spoke to like all the teams, pretty much. Um, but I didn't really speak to any of the other people up there. I spoke to one or two, I can't remember who. Um, but most of them were just kind of like everyone was kind of in their own world, to be honest, like just zoned in. I was like near the front of the queue anyway. I think I was like second or third, so there wasn't Jack Chan and then one other guy were in front of me, and they were all like kind of in their own world, like still trying to like hold on to a pump and doing like laps raises and all sorts. And yeah, so I
What were
don't
you
really speak to
doing
anyone.
before? Were you posing or were you doing press ups? What were you doing before?
Bit of posing, bit of press ups. Like a minute before they said we were about to go out, I just kind of just stood there and just kind of thought like about what like I want to do when I go on the stage. Um, and how I just gonna want to be confident and like that leg slap thing. I was just trying to remember to do that as I walked out. Because I thought I did like probably catch someone's eye, but
Yeah.
just I just wanted to go out there feeling good, feeling fresh in a way. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be like out of breath as I walked out either.
Yeah. Which, mate, it's really nice to hear that because a lot of, again, these are things that I said to you, like not pumping up too much, like not trying to get a massive sweat on, just getting everything to like 7 or 8 out of 10. But a lot of teens, first timers, like I was saying to you when we were sitting down, look at how many people are making mistakes with their pump up routine. And like you walked out and like you looked like you've been on stage hundreds of times, like extremely composed, demonstrated a really good package. Like for a first timer, mate, obviously I know you had Sanaya helping you with posing, you've been posing every day. Like I made a few tweaks on the day and stuff like that. But I think your overall presentation was like better than the first timer by quite some distance. And I'd say like that again probably helped with the tan, with your quads, with let's say like how striated your delts are, all that sort of stuff, you know? There's some photos there. Proper cool. Right.
That's
So while
mad.
we're looking through your Instagram, yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Okay.
Yeah, while we're going through your Instagram, mate, did you get any questions? Because I got a few.
I
And the first
got
one, you briefly, oh, how many did you get? Did you get any?
I got five or six. But two of them are like multiple, like the same thing.
Okay, cool. We'll go through a few questions, mate, because like I said, it's not often you see a teen with your sort of quad development. And one of them was we spoke about it yesterday, but what was your training like within the first few years of like when you just like when you started training? What was it like?
So, well, initially, like when I was like the first sort of year in the gym, I was probably just doing like standard like 4 times 10 on everything, junk
Mm,
volume, bro split sort of thing. Um, and then I believe like I kind of went into like powerlifting, and I remember like Smov like the first proper sort of program I ran, which probably I don't know, it probably paid off, but it also sounds like a bad idea like looking back on it, just because the amount of like frequency, like I'd literally squat 4 times a week, then I'd run it as well on bench, and then I'd do that 4 times a week, and that would be it, and then maybe like two accessories. So
mm.
not very productive from a bodybuilding standpoint, but
It's obviously worked, mate. So
yeah, maybe for the legs.
And then when it came to like the people that you trained with, like, because again, Finn, if you scroll back on his Instagram, like he's always looked like Jake. You always look pretty good. But even like back end of last year, you didn't look amazing. Like you didn't look great. Like you've made a lot of progress. Like ever since you signed up with me, to be fair. But
Yeah,
when it comes to your
yeah, get
friends
on
and stuff,
Reese.
I'm only joking, mate. But when it comes to like your friends, did you progress at like a faster rate? Were you surrounded by people that were genetically pretty good? Like, were you always thinking like, oh, I'm all right at this, or were you like,
good
oh man,
photo of
I've not
that.
got the best
Saving
the
that.
boys?
State of that.
Saving that one for later.
Yeah. Phew.
Okay.
Um, no, in like regarding like I kind of always like would say I've been ahead of people like around my age sort of group, like regardless whether that's strength or like kind of like from like a muscle mass sort of perspective. But I think that that's also just down to how much I applied myself initially, like early on. Like most people, like I've been like calorie counting like for a long time, like four odd years, which is like probably like starting a lot younger than most people would have.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd say like a lot of it is just down to me, like kind of like knowing a lot more than most people would at that age. And obviously having like pretty good genetics.
Yeah, no, that's quite cool, man. It's really cool to be fair. It's just different. Like again, it's because fundamentally it's just powerlifting, getting that base, going from there, and then at the same time, like applying that within bodybuilding. And like I feel like even though you said about obviously the programs you ran before, having that baseline level of like actually being able to train and train hard, and then being able to channel that into maybe slightly high volume or let's say lesser frequency, but more potential stimulus in sessions, like it does correlate well. Like I attribute the vast majority of my strength to like literally powerlifting in my younger teens, doing like I used to do 10 sets of three squat bench deadlift, like for a week on end, and then like literally rotate rep ranges. So I ran like a 7-5-3, and then so it was very similar to like let's say
Yeah,
powerlifting based program. And it was I was doing that. And then by the time I was probably like 17, 18, I'd already had that baseline foundation of strength. So when I went into more hypertrophy training, I was like, oh, I respond pretty well at this. But yeah, this looks
yeah,
pretty good. January 2021. How old would you have been here, mate? Like how old 2021? So what? Like
16.
16?
Yeah,
That's the joke, isn't it?
You would have won the junior men's physique yesterday, mate. At
yeah.
16.
I reckon I should just do men's physique back then.
Yeah. Right. We'll go into a few more questions, mate. Get your questions up and feel free to jump in with them. So we got hardest physical or mental part of prep. So what's the hardest physical part of prep, mate?
Uh, Wait, was that physical or mental? Sorry.
Both, but we'll go with physical.
I'd say all of it's going to be like hard to a degree. It just kind of comes down to how much you like crack on with it, really. Like
Mm.
if you enjoy doing cardio, like it could be that. But for me, like I'd say it's probably like doing steps like later in the day. Like doing them in the morning is fine, but like when you've like not done a certain amount by a certain time, you're like stressing about them, and then you're like kind of got to drag yourself out on a walk. That's somewhat physically hard, but it's just you got to get them done. So I don't really know. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
any of it is like physically that hard because it's all a little bit hard.
Can we just jump in, Finn? You see this? So 123 weeks ago, you got a comment 9 hours ago. PayPal.
PayPal.
That bro is that guy is horny as fuck.
That guy's been messaging me all day.
Also, you were training at Pure Gym at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I actually only started training at SUPs kind of like the back end of last year.
It's funny, isn't it, when people are like, Pure Gym shit, you can't grow out of Pure Gym. Well, I think you can.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, and then mental part of prep, mate. Would you say mental like similar to like obviously going for a walk and just being like, oh, I can't be arsed, or anything
Yeah,
else?
I enjoy going for walks at the same time, but I'd say like mentally like there were just some days where like you kind of like especially like at work where I kind of just got to be like, look, this hour's hard, but the day's not gonna be necessarily bad just because that hour's hard. And it's just like trying to get through those hours where like they're really dragging.
This is very good.
Yeah,
That's over a
you're not
year.
even you're not even showing your legs, mate. What the fuck?
Yeah, hiding them.
That's good.
And then you tagged your girlfriend, mate, on
On
your
your
dick.
cock. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I've done the exact same when I was 18 as well. I feel like we all
This profile reminds me of Reese's profile when he was younger.
because Finn,
But he's
I
stronger
honestly
and looks better. Not Reese, Jacob.
I was stronger at 18, I
We
think.
we were kind
Not
of discussing this
I
yesterday,
don't
like
think you were.
what we'd
Not
have
especially
each other
not at
on.
like pulling. Not
No,
at
no,
squatting,
definitely not.
sorry. Or squatting. Maybe pressing.
We were going Yeah, we were going from like movement to movement, and we were like comparing. And I was like, I do you on delts and like I do you on delts and arms quite considerably. I was like, back we both had a shit back. We both still have a shit back. I was like, so
Yeah,
we
pretty
can't really.
much.
I was like, legs you do me. I said hamstrings. I've always had all right hamstrings. But it would have been. It does look like his profile looks exactly the same as mine. Just I probably hit a few more physique poses when I was younger. And then to be fair, this actually segues nicely. The next question is, why did you pick Reese as a coach? So why did you pick me as a coach, mate?
Well, I'd been following you for like I'd say about a year before I applied, and I just thought like I knew that it's good to pick a coach that you kind of like get on well with or vibe with, and I liked the way that you approached training. I liked the way that you presented yourself across like Instagram, and I thought you seemed pretty cool. And then
And
I
then you
just thought,
found
yeah, I'd
out he's
send it.
not. And I found
Yeah,
out he's really.
yeah, not cool at all, man.
I made such a bad decision. No,
I
fair
remember you
enough.
posting this. I feel like I remember you posting this. It was only, yeah, it was only a couple of months ago, and like I think this is the first
What?
time I'd seen you post any training clips. And I saw the hack, and I was like, "Oh yeah, makes sense." I was just like,
Yeah.
"That's really cool." And then I remember saying to Reese, I was like, "We should train legs with him."
Yeah, I want to. I haven't yet to use my lose my Cybex squat press virginity, so
That'd be
I'd
funny.
like to train legs at the shed.
Have you done the Cybex
Mm.
hack?
No, no, I've only used the Atlantis hack. I'm
That'd
pretty
be
sure.
fun to see what you can get on that.
Yeah, definitely. Right, Jacob, we have 2.5 minutes, mate. Any good questions that you have?
Yeah, I've got a few. So, plans for the rest of the season. So we kind of already spoke about that, like PCA naturals, and then like going on to worlds. Um, leg day workout. Um, squats basically, just squats and squat a lot and hard. Uh, and then what was the main factor that you personally did in your prep to help you achieve what you did yesterday? I think
Hi,
that's
mate. Hi,
yeah,
Reese.
yeah, high Reese.
Yeah. Or Finn, if you want to be a teen, you want to win an overall.
To be fair, though, it
We
does
with
like
our
that is one thing. Like and this isn't to like promote coaching in any way, but like imagine if you were to try and have done all this on your own. Like think how much easier it is just being able to be told what to do and be like,
Yeah,
cool,
just tick a box every day.
yeah, like it
Yeah,
makes life a lot easier, doesn't it? So
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
And then last question before we wrap things up. Plans for the future, mate? Ever going to tap into the dark side? You could be on the Olympic stage.
Well, me and Reese have actually had to speak about this a little bit, but I think it does just come down to like where I'm at and maybe like in the future. Like it's definitely on the table. But at the same time, like especially like being this past weekend, it's kind of realized like I knew that I could do a lot more in natural bodybuilding, but at the same time, like it is very much in my mind, like at the forefront. But we'll just see.
not surprised. Reese is
Yeah.
your coach. He's shoving it down your throat every day.
Coach
He was
Mud.
trying to give me super joy yesterday. I saw.
I know, I saw him. I told him, mate, no, you can't. It's banned. What?
Yeah. What? Zip control? I was like, Jacob, spit it out. I'm sorry. Lee, we're joking. That did not happen. So yeah, perfect, mate. Right, that's like wicked time wise. Thank you ever so much, mate, for I say making the time, but you had an evening, so you just
Yeah.
joined and like that. And then Phoebe, do you want to give us an outro like you did for the YouTube video? Do you want to say bye?
All right, guys, we're going now. Hope you enjoyed watching. Um, make sure
Like,
to
comment, subscribe.
like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on today's podcast. Um, or whatever this is. Once you're in, you're in. Peace.